Now, once the sound wave reaches the tympanic membrane, it causes the tympanic membrane to vibrate. Now, after the vibration of the tympanic membrane, this tympanic membrane vibration is transmitted to the middle ear, causing the three middle bones, which are the malleus, the incus, and the stapes, to move. So, as you can see here, these are the three middle bones. These middle bones are very important in transmitting the sound waves to the inner ear. What they do is they couple the vibrations from the tympanic membrane and they concentrate it to the oval window, which is a membrane separating the inner ear and the middle ear. So they are very instrumental in transmitting the sound waves from the middle ear to the inner ear. Now, we mentioned the oval window. The oval window starts, the scale of the stimuli starts at the oval window. But before that, let's talk about the tension muscle and the stapedius. So these are two muscles that are actually very important because they are connected to the malleus and the stapes respectively, and they act as protective muscles in protecting the receptor cells in the inner ear. So what they do is they dampen the movement and they control the mobility of these bones in order to protect the very delicate receptors in the inner ear. So, in the oval window, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes, they concentrate the sound waves to the oval window, which is a membrane separating the inner ear and the middle ear. So the oval window is actually the beginning of this, what we call the scale of the stimuli, which is located right here, just above the cochlear duct. So from the oval window, sound waves are transmitted into the cochlea, specifically in the scale of the stimuli, which begins at the oval window. And because of this, because of the pressure that begins in the oval window, it creates pressure waves in the scale of the stimuli. And these pressure waves in the scale of the stimuli, they travel on only two pathways in which they dissipate in the inner ear. So these two pathways are first through the helicotrema around the cochlear duct. So as you can see here, running lines sa taas, this is the first pathway through the helicotrema, which is located right here. So they go around the cochlear duct and then through to the scale tympani to the round window, which we dissipate. And the second pathway is the only pathway that actually activates the receptor cells in the organ of Corti located at the basilar membrane of the cochlear duct. So, how does this happen? This happens when the pressure waves actually cross directly to the cochlear duct, to the scale tympani. So the pressure waves cross the cochlear duct. This causes vibration in the basilar membrane of the cochlear duct. And note that the basilar membrane is where the organ of Corti is situated. And the organ of Corti has the receptor cells for hearing. So now, as mentioned kanina, once we vibrate ng basilar membrane, it activates the receptors. So some of the receptors. So these are our hair cells. They are the primary receptors on the organ of Corti. So this is where the Manliguez receptor happens. So next slide. Okay, as you can see here, there are two types of hair cells. We have the inner cell, and the outer hair cells. It's 3 rows, one row. So primary inner receptors, inner hair cells, only have a focus. So both of them are composed of what we call the spherocilia. These are their hair-like projections. Inner hair cells, it expands on endolymph fluid na siya. While sa spherocilia, sa outer hair cell, it is embedded in our pectoral membrane na siya. So next slide. Okay, so here is the zoomed-in version sa inner hair cell. So as you can see here, model of spherocilia, and this long spherocilia has a special name called pinociliary. So, ganito po, once na-activate ang hair cells, right? So, mag-move ang endolymph fluid. So, once mag-move
take note lang guys, wala na siya sa book, okay? Describe lang siya yung sa niyang, yung sa signal information sa training.
Time check. Time.
Minutes.
But here is, sige, mag-start na sa cochlea. Now, if you can see here, kaling purple na recognize this, these are your cochlear nerve fibers that carry your sound signals. So, travel siya to the cochlear nuclei which is the first central processing station, which is divided into two, the dorsal cochlear nucleus and the ventral cochlear nucleus, which are responsible for processes in frequency and on temporal timing information, respectively. So, the next we have the superior olivary complex in the pons. So, this is the first set of binaural processing, which is the comparison of input from both ears and interpretation